the top 4 throws from the game, according to Next Gen Stats, which had the least probability of completions. And actually, the touchdown was number 1. The one that I thought was the best was number 2, where he was falling back. But I guess the probability of the touchdown pass, according to Next Gen Stats, was something like 19%. Mm-hmm. And then it's pretty cool. Like the way that analysis of games has evolved, it's amazing versus how we consume games 20 years ago. Like they have like a little window there and it says the amount of space there is in the window and everything. I mean, the detail.
The nerds are taking over. The nerds are winning. They're full on winning when it comes to sports.
I mean, like when you watch a Major League Baseball game now, at first, you just watch a game and you couldn't really tell balls and strikes. Now they put the little box right in there and you can see if it passes through the box. And
listen, one of the things I've been most impressed by him are those throws. I mean, throws that we haven't seen consistently made here since at least Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think it's close.
I thought the reason why I thought Brissett would probably take over is I just thought he'd struggle like a young quarterback throwing picks, and he's limited the picks for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? If he drops back 49 times, he's going to throw probably 1 or 2 picks.
He's got more touchdowns than picks.
To me, that's the best part is that Bieniemy isn't like, we're going to have to run the ball 55 or 60% of the time. He's like, you know what? Screw it. You're running my offense. I have to place my trust in you. And he's doing it.
Anyway,
he's not giving like a sanitized version of the playbook to him.
We will talk. We will talk to Brad Spielberger from Pro Football Focus about Sam Howell and more. And then after that, we will have Coach Cooley from Georgetown.
Cooley's going to join us.
We will have him on for the first time. Of course, changing the guard there at Georgetown. Was Ewing there 6 years?
I don't know.
It's either 5 or 6.
Sounds right. Still getting paid. I know that.
Coach Cooley's getting paid too.
They're
had a very successful run in Providence, but he's taken over there at Georgetown, so we will have him on. But wanted to get a couple of these articles on CBS Sports, one about the rookies and one with like bold predictions for the second half of the season. We can start with the rookies. So they graded all the first-round rookies, of course, with the 16th pick. The Commanders took Emmanuel Forbes, and just to give you some of the grades of the top picks, which were quarterbacks, they had Bryce Young at a C, which I think is somewhat generous.
That might be
Stroud
generous for
A.
him.
Stroud an A+.
Yeah.
He's got 14 touchdowns with just 1 pick.
Yeah.
Will Anderson, edge rusher for the Texans, got an A. Anthony Richardson, an incomplete. They're going to face Devin Witherspoon, cornerback for the Seahawks, who was the 5th pick. They give him an A+ as well.
He's had some monster games so far for the Seahawks.
Is he covering the opposing number 1, or is he a nickel? What's his responsibility?
No, he's playing on the outside.
Yeah.
Usually up top or the left side of the. So no, they don't. He's not following.
So it'll be.
They have Tyreek Woolen on the other side.
Okay, he'll be on. So he'll be on McLaurin for a good portion of that game, I'm guessing.
Yep.
They say that he's
Very
a
physical.
thumper in the run game.
Yep.
Already one of the most physical defensive backs in the league in terms of completion percentage against. It's no surprise he's the top rookie cornerback.
Well, he was like
that. But among
that.
all cornerbacks who've played at least 300 snaps this season, he is just 3rd in the NFL behind Martin Emerson and Jalen Johnson. So he's been a stud.
Mm-hmm.
So they give him an A+. And
who were you just referring to?
Witherspoon.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Who's with the Seahawks.
And he was a lot like that in college because Illinois had the best defense in the country, or top 3 anywhere, and from last year, and but no one could throw in Witherspoon.
So just to go through some of the notables, Jahmyr Gibbs, they give an A for the Lions. I think that's somewhat generous. I mean, he's been good, but
his role hasn't been huge, but it's expanded since Montgomery's been sidelined with the rib injury.
So then we get to the 16th pick, and that's Emmanuel Forbes, and I think it's a fair grade. They give him a C- so far. Mm-hmm. He's coming off his best game, though.
Mm-hmm. I would have thought maybe lower.
He's had
But he had a good game last week.
He had a really good game.
He was graded. What was his grade? 91 on PFF. Yeah,
he was actually their highest rated guy.
But I need to see it against a pretty good receiving core. Like that Patriots receiving core has to be bottom 5, if not bottom 3 in the league. I need to see it against better competition.
Here's the concerning stat they put out there. The average completion percentage against for rookie defensive backs who played at least 100 snaps is 58%. So that's the average. The average completion percentage against Forbes is 71%.
See, I don't know what to make of
Big
that
jump.
because what if you're just laying off guys? You just and Jack Del Rio's whole thing, especially in a lot of these drives, is just keep them in front of you. Just let them nickel and dime you, keep them in front of you.
Well,
I don't know.
what I would counter that with
that.
Forbes is they drafted him because he's a playmaker and,
A ball hawk.
ball hawk. Didn't he lead college football with pick sixes?
See, I think he was benched because he whiffed on a few of those balls.
Correct.
He's dropped 3.
But I'm not sure.
He also
that's a
got
big
out
deal.
physical in a couple games, which we can expect because he's smaller. I remember in one, and it's A.J. Brown, who's great, but they just threw kind of like a quick little flare pass to A.J. Brown, and he basically stiff-armed him, pushed him out of the way.
Unless he bulks up, he can't draw those big hulking wideouts. Like he's got to cover the quicker.
So he's got to go against Lockett, not Metcalf.
I would think. I mean, if he's
Or
gonna,
maybe Smith
if he's
and
going to be
Jigba.
matched up against Metcalf, he needs some sort of safety help. He can't handle him one-on-one. Like that's a horrible matchup for Forbes. We saw that play out twice with A.J. Brown.
Yeah, and I can see why you're saying that you're a little, confused on the 71%.
Especially if you're laying off guys, you just keep it in front of you.
I would like to see the number of big plays. What's the percentage of big plays he's given up? Because he's been beaten on some big plays.
Yeah, I think that's more of my criticism of him.
Yeah.
But who knows? It's way too early to write him off.
Of course.
No doubt about it. So they have their second half bold predictions here on CBS Sports. This is Cody Benjamin. Now, Cake's already hit one of his bold predictions. If you want to pat yourself on the back, what was your bold prediction that you hit?
That McDaniels would be the first head coach fired.
Yes.
Now, I thought it would happen in December. Turns out it happened in November.
Yeah.
So they've got 5 bold predictions here.
Yeah.
Number 1, and this could affect the Commanders, is they say the Vikings do make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Any hopes of a mid-Minnesota postseason bid appear to vanish the minute Kirk Cousins suffered a torn Achilles in Week 8, but there wasn't a more spirited team on Sunday with journeyman Josh Dobbs coming in cold off the bench to guide a comeback upset.
Not sure that's going to continue, though.
They're going to get Justin Jefferson back, and they just believe, or Cody Benjamin believes, they're going to outlast the Bucks, the Commanders. He says even the Seahawks in a wild card race.
Here are their
stumbling block.
4 games, their next 4. The Saints, big game this week because it's 2 teams battling for a playoff spot, right? Saints battling for a division title, but Saints, Broncos, Bears, Raiders.
Right.
2 of them on the road.
Where I see even worse for them, the last 3 games of the season, they faced the Lions twice in the last 3 weeks.
And the Bengals right before the Lions.
So that's going to be tough. But look, Dobbs is a guy, he's not going to wow you with his throwing, but he can get it done on the ground too. And he's a capable passer. And if Jefferson comes back and he's 100%, and he's throwing to Jefferson, Addison, and Hawkinson, it's a pretty good assortment of skill players.
New Orleans will be
to.
tough. New Orleans defense will be tough.
Sure.
For them. But that's a big game.
Yeah, that's a massive.
All right, so that was the number 1 bold
Their number
prediction?
2 bold prediction is Antonio Pierce earns the Raiders head coaching job. Of course, they won their first game. They had the victory cigars, but we know who they played. One thing that I thought was cool, I mean, he's a very likable guy if you watch any of his speeches, is he thought that the policy of the practice squad players not being on the sideline, he didn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, hey, these guys help during the week.
Yeah.
They're vital to the team. Let's have them all there. And he said it was maybe a little more chaotic, but
It's
maybe
a nice,
it brings a little more team unity.
cool team building exercise. Like, yeah, those guys they're battling during practice. They deserve to be on the sideline during games. I agree with that.
And they point out in this article, a couple years ago, Rich Bisaccia took over as the interim, and he did fairly well, and they passed over him to go with Josh McDaniels. So maybe this time they stay with the internal pick. Number 3, bold prediction here for the second half of the season. Will Levis will challenge for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, C.J. Stroud has him by 100 laps right now.
Yeah, of course.
But Levis, he impressed me in the second game, which wasn't the game that he had the touchdowns. He had 4 touchdowns in the first game. In the second game, I thought he was decent. They right here, 2 games into his career, he looks the part of the Titans signal caller, even with the subpar line and receiving core. You simply can't teach his talent, which is evident every time he flicks the ball downfield, and that alone should put him in position for splash games that keep the Titans far more competitive than they ought to be.
Yeah, the Titans have said that
He's
Tannehill
gonna
is
be the
no
starter.
longer the guy. Levis is the guy
We'll see how he plays in Tampa
for
this
the
week.
remainder of the season.
But I think unless C.J. Stroud has a meltdown, he's going to win the
Yes.
Rookie of
it's
the
looking
Year.
that way.
The other guys in the race are Jordan Addison, got 7 touchdowns for the Vikings. Puka Nacua, over 800 receiving yards already. So he's going to have, as a rookie, 1,500 receiving yards if he keeps it up. Number 4, they've got Rashad Penny becomes a late-year star. The former Seahawks standout.
I think that's kind of bold.
Has been a non-factor in Philadelphia.
Because
They got Swift. They got Gainwell.
Yeah, I mean, unless Swift gets banged up and they start giving the ball to Penny more. I mean, Swift is just the guy. He's just much more explosive.
Penny I think he got at least one series this past week. I don't think he did much with it, but I could see where they're just trying to preserve him for the late stretch run to have like a hammer to add to this offense, along with Swift and Gainwell, who are more like dual threat guys. Like Penny doesn't really have the receiving element. He's going to be the guy that gets the gritty 3.5, 4 yard runs.
Right.
Not the glamorous
Maybe in a
type
bad
of runs.
weather game or a real cold day.
So I can see that. I don't know if he'll be a star, but I think he'll be a piece that
Well,
they
it is a
use.
bold prediction.
Yeah.
And I don't know that this is a bold prediction in this room, but
It's
the
not.
final bold prediction that CBS Sports has is Ron Rivera parts ways with the Commanders.
Yes, that is very non-bold.
Yeah.
That's the
And-
least spicy take of all 5.
And they're saying it's going to occur immediately following Week 18.
Right.
I mean, the bolder prediction would be like if he got fired, the next couple of weeks. Everybody here expects him not to be the head coach next season.
What throws me is the first line in the blurb. It says, call it a mutual split that occurs immediately following Week 18.
Well,
I don't think it's mutual. Like, Ron wants to stay. I think it's going to be a one-sided affair. Harris,
Now, if they would have lost to the Patriots, all right, maybe a midseason
a
split
couple losses.
could have happened. But
Couple in a row.
since he won that game, they're still in the mix. Now,
That's why he was so fired up in the locker
I
room.
tell you,
See
dude,
what happens the
I
rest of the
saw him
way.
in a sit-down with somebody. I don't know who it was. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. But he looked pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
And he was like, we like the position that we're in right now. So he's kind of feeling himself, especially after Sam has played so well the last couple weeks. I think he's looking at the schedule going, okay, the Seattle game is obviously pivotal, but it's not like it's an insurmountable task, right? I mean, I think we're dogs, and we should be dogs, but
yeah,
I wouldn't be stunned if we beat the Seahawks, and then you wouldn't be stunned if they beat the Giants.
I just don't think Ron should.
They better beat
I don't
the
think
Giants.
Ron should feel that comfortable. Like maybe
He
he's.
shouldn't. But at the moment, right now, coming off 2 good performances from his quarterback and looking at the schedule, he feels pretty good right now in the moment.
I just think he knows the future. That's why he looks comfortable with. He's come to grips
Well,
with it.
I think he thinks he might be on a little run.
Well,
I'm telling you.
I think
that's
he's
fine,
delusional.
but it's not going to save him.
I think he's delusional if he thinks that.
It might. It might look good at the end of the season, but it's not going to be good
Now
enough
they beat
to keep
Seattle
him here.
Sunday, and they better beat the Giants the next week. All right, and they've won 3 straight.
I think he's thinking we
Then
have
maybe-
a chance to win 3 in a row here.
Right.
I think that's what he's thinking.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just talking about the future.
And I think the future, it could be a scenario that somebody else threw out there. Can't remember who it was. What if they just strip Ron of his player personnel stuff and they bring in different player personnel guys, but they go, Ron, you got him to 9 wins or 8 wins, which would be, tough.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you get to 8 or 9 wins. We'll strip you of your personnel stuff, but you still be the head coach.
I would be very, very surprised.
I'd be shocked actually if that happened.
That was the word I should have used.
I think Harris wants to be out of the Ron Rivera business in 2024.
Okay.
But we'll see. We will see.
I think there might be ways he can weasel out of this.
I'd be stunned
potentially.
stunned if he's the head coach next season.
Yeah, I know. It's just hard to say that after they win a few. If they win a few,
It's not that hard. I mean, he hasn't had a winning season since 2017. It's not that hard to throw that guy overboard and get better.
I mean, look, if they're winning games that we didn't expect them to win, it's a little different story, but I don't expect them to go on a run with that schedule.
they can win the next 2.
It's possible, sure.
Yeah.
I don't think they will, but we'll see.
That'd be fun.
They will beat the Giants.
If they win the next two, the buzz will be back.
If they
Start
win the
thinking
next two, the
playoffs.
buzz will be back.
Right, because that'll be 3 in a row.
Well, that's why I'm saying that's why this week is such a huge game.
No, there's no doubt it's huge. There's no doubt.
It's massive.
But I think Ron definitely thinks he could save his job if he goes on a run.
I think he's
don't think he
delusional.
thinks it's over regardless of what I do. I think he thinks, and I think rightly so, he could save his job if he could put together another late run.
Isn't it amazing what a win will do, though? Because before the win, we were saying he looks resigned to the fact.
I think this gave him all new life.
Yeah, it looks like resigned to the fact that he's gone, dead man walking.
Right.
He wins one game, and he's loosey-goosey
He's
in the
squeaked
locker
over a
room.
bad two-win
He's giving
team.
guys Victory Tuesday.
Yeah.
Like you said,
I saw the interview. I can't remember who it was either, but it was either, it might have been Scott Abraham. It doesn't
looked pretty
matter.
comfortable.
He was like laughing.
He looked pretty comfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Totally
agree.
different man.